Hi Ben.
Hello.
Love to talk about your near-death experience. You have told me, I was amazed. So, your near-death experience, when did that happen? How far into your mediumship was it? Before, in the middle, when?
Last year.
Okay, and was
Last
this
May.
the first one and the only one?
I hope it's the one and only one.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I've heard of Balti.
Yeah, it was the one and only one. It was probably the end of May last year.
Yeah.
I had a car accident, and it was probably my own fault, the car accident, and I ended up in a coma for 3 weeks, and during that little holiday, I suppose people said, did you see the light, or did you do this? I know my family had the last rites read on me. I know they were told that there was, I think it was a 40 or 50% chance that I wouldn't survive, and if I did survive I could end up in a vegetable wheelchair.
God.
But whilst I was there, it wasn't the case of you saw a light or a tunnel, or well, it wasn't in my case. It wasn't my case. My case was, it was in the biggest field you could ever imagine, just golden corn, but no breaks in the field. The field was just all one. The field was just all one, and the sun was in front of me. So I just kept walking towards the sun, I suppose. So that was the light. And after quite a lot of walking and, you know, just chilling out, I suppose, sun on your holidays.
Did you feel different in yourself? Was you aware where you was?
Probably not at that stage. I knew I was somewhere, but where, I didn't know at that time. I didn't know. I just didn't know. And then eventually I came across a big set of doors, a big set of wooden doors. I could hear voices the other side of the doors, and I kind of brushed the door past and gave it a little shake, and you know, I said, am I going to go in, or what am I going to do? So as I turned back around again, I was met by my cousin. My cousin had gone to the spirit world previous, he could have been gone maybe 20 years. He was killed in a car accident himself.
Oh, interesting.
And I was really surprised it was him. And you know, because my dad was in there, and you know, my friend Jerry, who I spoke about earlier, he's in there, and I have lots of other friends that are there.
Do you think it had been because it was less emotional? Maybe that's why your cousin came.
I asked him.
Okay.
I said, "Why you?"
Yeah.
And what happened was when he was taken in his when he was killed, they left a cross at the side of the road in the spot where he was killed, and it was a black cross, and there was white stenciled on it, and painting his name and his date of birth and his age and stuff. And where I happened to be living at that time, I found it. I was told where it was, and it was overgrown, and it probably hadn't been visited for a while. So I cut the grass down around the cross, got a pot of black paint, repainted it, and re-stenciled in his, you know, just. And he said to me he wanted to thank me for doing that for him.
That's lovely.
Remember him. So that's why
that makes sense.
he came back, he came outside to me. So I said to him, you know, are you going to let me in the door to me? You know, he said no. He said, your name's not on the list, you're not getting in.
Yes.
So he said to me, no, you're not coming in. And I said, why? And he said, you have to go back and, you know, walk. You have to do a walk. And I said, but... And I know people will think, you know, he's children and he's selfish and this, that and the other, but I can only tell you from my experiences, because I was there. It was, imagine the happiest time in your life and then multiply it by 1,000 times.
That's what I often say to people, yeah.
And that, you may come close to what the experience of what your being there is. Because all your human emotions are gone. You know, you're worrying about money, or you're worrying about relationships, or you're worrying, whatever the case, you're worrying about kids, whatever the case you may be worrying about. And all that's gone, all that's taken away from you. So you feel light, you feel free, you feel this amount of love you feel is just tremendous.
Euphoric.
Yeah, absolutely euphoric. And I didn't want to leave it. You know, I didn't want to leave it. You know, coming back then to earth again, saying, oh no, rain and dull, boring, you know. And up there was, up there was nice, really nice place to be. So,
would you class it as the Summerlands, as they often describe it?
I would class it, certainly when I was there, it was, you know, it was my summer holiday anyway. Yeah. So it was beautiful. So sometimes now when I do addresses, I try to, you know, relive that experience again and, you know, bring through. I'll ask them what do they want me to speak on, and sometimes they'll say to me, you know, you can speak about this, and other times they'll say somebody in the congregation or somebody needs to hear your experience because of what they're going through at that particular time, at that moment. And people have come up and said to me, you know, I've got somebody that's, you know, dying belong to me, and it, you know, brings them a lot of comfort. That it's not just a box or cremated or in the ground or whatever, and that's it. This is a shell. I keep on saying to people, it's a shell. It's a rented shell. That's all it is. Whatever you pass with, that goes into that box or urn or whatever the case may be, and that's it, it's gone. Your spirit never goes. It's always there afterwards.
So once you had this near-death experience, was there anything else that happened?
Well, when he sent me back, I have to admit, when I come round and I come back out, and circumstances changed in my life and stuff like that, and I was quite low, and it took me time to recover from what had happened in the experience, and I probably wasn't in a good place within myself. You know, I had a really good friend over there, and people that looked after me when he took me in and he looked after me after the accident, him and my friend and his dad, and I had good family members that helped me out as well over there, and but I think trying to get my own head right was difficult. It was the most difficult thing.
Do you think it left you? I mean, I know some people I've spoken to, you can have a near-death experience and come back and want to change the world, or some people come back and think, I really hate this world because you've touched that.
I probably was 60-40 and to say I hate this world, you know, and I want to change it, but didn't know how, didn't know what to do, and then I came back over to England in December, and I said to myself, do you know what, I think I've had enough of this now, you know, I think I've had enough of doing readings, I think I've had enough of all of this, you know, listening to people or communicating to people, and you know, again, I said to myself, is it worth it?
Perhaps you probably want to find yourself, Ben.
Oh, absolutely. I needed to find myself. I needed to. I didn't obviously know at the time, but I needed to step back from myself and you know, recharge the battery, so to speak.
Sounds like you were grieving for life, really.
Probably, you know, but again, I had more change just around Christmas time, and what's life without a bit of change? But I had more change around Christmas time. Stepped into a new part of my life, and I found myself, I suppose, not in a very good place to start off with. You know, I had people there trying to help me.
I think that's when we connected, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I had people there trying to help me, and I think I brushed you off.
I just kept annoying you, didn't I, for some reason. I didn't even know to this day why I did, but I guess I do now.
But I, you know, probably tried to, you know,
I understand.
Leave me alone, type thing. You know, I need to try to work this out myself. But it was probably the wrong thing to do. But again, you have to learn. You know, what's life without learning? You know, you have to learn these things, that you do need people around you. You do need like-minded people around you.
True people.
Yeah, to try to help you and to try to bring you forward from whatever place you are. You know, you don't have to be spiritual, you don't have to be a medium. And again, as I said earlier in one of the comments, like, just because you're a medium, people think you've got all the answers and you know, all the good things happen to you. Well, I'm here to say to you, it's not like that. You know, lots of bad things happen. and lots of stressful things happen, and lots of tough things happen, and it's how you come out the other side of it what defines you. And I think what I've learned the most now is try to laugh as much as I can, try to
Rise above it.
Yes, absolutely. Try to rise above things, but just not to let things attach to me and not say, worry about it, not sleep, panicking. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I can't. Well, I'll certainly, in the bigger, broader picture, I can't do a lot about it. But what I certainly can do is make myself more positive. And as long as I'm more positive, I can try my best to take care of me and the small individuals and groups that are around me and the people that I want to be with, and they are the ones I will help.
Do you feel the near-death experience heightened your connection?
Absolutely.
So have you taken another journey? Because I have been aware that some people that have a near-death experience, be it mediumship, healing, but also trance, seem to really take another gear on. They really sort of...
I feel as if, because it was quite a few years ago since I last done platform, and sometimes it was hit and sometimes it was miss, and again I wasn't putting a lot into it, I suppose, again, as we spoke about earlier about the snooker player. But this time round I tried to put a lot more into it, and I feel the connection's better. I feel as if I've more compassion within myself. Again, some of my friends mightn't think so because the way we have a laugh and a joke, but
oh gosh,
you have to have people look at you and they brand you at one target and say, well, he looks like this or he looks like that, but that's judging a book by its cover, and
if they knew what you did, they wouldn't care, to be quite honest. They would go beyond it.
But again, I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything. He's full of tattoos and he's a skinhead, so he looks like a football hooligan, or he looks like this or he looks like that. But again, you get them comments, and when you deliver messages, people come up and say to you, I have to apologise because I thought when I first saw you that you were definitely in the wrong place, or you were here for a different reason, and when you walked out as the medium, I was shocked. So, but which is good, which is really good. And again, that changed all people's perspectives about everybody. Just because they look different doesn't mean they are.
So you say that it's heightened your gift. Do you find, as you said, obviously you're more compassionate about yourself and about your work. Has it allowed you to communicate maybe on a higher frequency in the spirit world?
I think the communication is clearer.
But I mean heightened, obviously a lot of mediums tend to work from the astral planes. Has that changed? Are you now getting more of maybe the guides, very high beings that may want to communicate wisdom even?
Yes, of course. I feel it's when I try to communicate with myself, they help me an awful lot. And if you're just speaking to somebody, it doesn't have to be through a reading, or it can be through anything. Thoughts will come into your head, that they need this or they need that, and you try to pass them on as best you can communicate. Obviously, if you're sitting beside somebody in an airplane and saying, that's my brother, or that's my sister, or that's my mother, I'm certainly not going to turn around and say, listen, I've got such and such in here from the spirit world, and I want to give you a little message because I think I'd be wrapped up in a white blanket or strapped.
That must be actually quite hard because, obviously you open and close, but we know the spirit world, they really want to come through,
yes,
they come
of course.
through.
And
that must be quite...
It happens in the supermarket, it happens at work, but...
I think I'll actually go up and tell them, but do you hold yourself back?
Of course I hold myself back, yes.
I probably wouldn't, though.
Yeah, but
just to see the reaction, I think.
Yeah, but again, that's learning to discipline your guides for when you're walking, and it's learning to discipline yourself. And both of us have to work with each other if we're going to work properly. So we've come to an arrangement, and that this is how we're going to work. If I feel the need that maybe that person doesn't want me to intrude. So then I can't enforce myself on somebody.
Especially their belief systems.
Exactly. You know, they could turn around and say to me, how dare you say that? I don't believe in that.
So, moving on from there, you've had the near-death experience. Certainly there's a great change in Ben. He's now back out there.
He's
Probably,
back out there.
you know, on a different level now. You probably handle people a lot better. You probably consider how to be with people. Where do you find or feel your forte is with this? Because you have mentioned to me that you have been approached by other parties to help maybe with missing children or missing people or clear up crimes. You know, is that a pathway you'd like to take? Because there's a lot of unsolved mysteries, isn't there?
There is lots of unsolved mysteries. If it's, again, it wouldn't bother me if I was just as spiritual just. As long as you're communicating, it doesn't really matter who you're communicating with. You know, people say, well, I'm a communicator with the stars, or I'm a communicator with this. We all have our own parts to play in communicating. You know, whether it be the really big and famous mediums who, you know, after all, people slagged them off, but if it wasn't for them, we'd be still in the doldrums. So we have to, you know, show.
They brought it to the forefront.
Absolutely, you know. And people say, "Well, I don't agree with this, and I don't agree with that." But at the end of the day, if we hadn't had them on that stage at that particular time, where would we still be? We'd still be 20 years back in the dark old ages and swept under the carpet. You don't really do that, and you know. But we're not. We're back.
So that far away, 1953, the Witches Act.
Well,
still in.
But we're in the forefront now, and we're trying to push it in a way, hopefully, that we're, you know, positive, just normal, grounded, down to earth people that you can approach, that you can come to, and you can ask a question, or you can say, listen, can I have just a chat with you? It doesn't have to be a reading. Yeah, of course. Can I ask you a question through this? Can I? Why not? It's not mine, I don't own it. It's something I've borrowed. Some people say I may have stolen it, but it's something I've borrowed for a short period of time while I'm here on this earth. And again, it's not mine. If I can help anybody in any way, shape or form, regardless if they said to me, you know, such and such is missing, or whatever, you know, or my cat's lost, or whatever the case may be, if I can help, I will help. If I can't help, I'll say, listen, I'm really sorry. It's not coming to me, for whatever reason. But of course, if somebody asked me to help them and I could in any way, shape or form, I would try, of course. Because again, you know, especially if the person's passed. And people say to me, listen, my brother's missing and I'd love to really know where he is. And I said to him, you know, you've got to understand that if your brother comes true, are you ready to understand that they're in the spirit world, they're communicating to me through the spirit world. So you have to be careful, you know, are they vulnerable? Are you going to ready to let that leash on them? And you have to be a bit more diplomatic in what you say, because again, we have a responsibility. And how you communicate and what you communicate.
So just to bring our recording to an end, what advice would you give to people that would like or feel they have mediumistic skills?
The best advice I can give to somebody who's up and coming, and there's loads of people out there. It's not just people saying, oh, you know, you must have all these great powers. No, I'm sorry, I just don't believe that. I believe lots of people can do it, and lots of people have the gift of doing it. They just don't know what it is. You know, I'm sure lots of people have had near-death experiences, and lots of people have saw, you know, spirits, and you know, just not me or not many people like me, but I'm sure lots of people have. But it's where people go and where they feel comfortable and where they walk into and say, well, I feel like a bit of a freak and I can't talk to anybody, and I don't really want to say it because people might think I'm mad and stereotyping. But maybe they did a few years ago, but there's lots of places now where you can go. Your local spiritualist church would probably be a good way to start. Go in, and a lot of them have developing circles, which is an open circle, and then when you advance more often, then you can go to a closed circle and develop your gift. But the best pieces of advice I can give to anybody is Once you join a circle and you really like that circle, don't think after 5 weeks or 6 weeks or 6 months or a year you know everything, because you don't. Stay. You may change circles and you may change churches, or you may find a group that you're really happy with. But the best mediums that have been at it for 35 and 40 years and 60 years and whatever, they sat in circles all their lives because they keep on reiterating till the end. I'm still learning. I don't know everything. So if them people, all the greats from times gone by, have sat in circles for all them years, surely somebody who's coming in has to aspire to bring as much evidence in as possible for somebody who's passed over. And once you link that first time, there's no better feeling. Once you help someone who's lost somebody and you get a hug or you get a kiss or you get a handshake, there is no other feeling. There's no better feeling. People say, what's it like? You can say equivalent, it could be like a footballer scoring a goal, it could be, it's like somebody getting high, but it's a feeling that, it's a tremendous feeling when you bring somebody back through. So if somebody's lost a daughter who's been gone for a number of years and the life is almost over, they stop. They want to take their own lives themselves because they feel that she's up there all alone, or wherever there is. They don't know where there is. And then when you bring through a message from that young girl to say to that mum, listen, I'm here, I'm okay, I'm with granddad, I'm with it, whoever. And you give them evidence, and the evidence builds about, maybe she could describe to me something that's in that person's house now at that specific minute, or how the room looks, or whatever. And then describe to me about how that person's life is, or what's going on in that person's life. And then hopefully let her, I'm not saying never forget, because they never will forget, because the loss of a child is a really, really difficult thing to get over. But try to let them live this life whilst they're here. And realise at the end of this life that the two parties will meet again. And that the little girl will be there when her journey on this life plane is finished. And then they can move forward in the next life. And that is the biggest thrill for somebody like me, to bring that communication through. And then off I go. They go off happy. I go off blessed that I was able to do something that I love. And that's what it is.
Wonderful. Ben, thank you so much for taking time out. I would certainly like to do some more in the future. And especially as you journey on, I'm sure you're going to have some wonderful stories, and I know you've still got some in the bag for me. But till then, so please folks, if you want to get in contact with Ben, on the website is his number, or just email me and I'll connect you to Ben. He's a wonderful man. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you. Bye-bye.